Welcome to the Nerdist Podcast number 546. We've added a second Nerdist Podcast live at San Diego Comic-Con, so that'll be Saturday, July 26th at 7:30 p.m. We're going to announce the guests pretty soon, but tickets are going fast. I hate that phrase because it sounds manipulative, right? Like, oh, you better get on this or you're going to lose tickets that you're not going to... I mean... If you want to go, you would just buy the tickets. If you don't want to go, you're probably not going to go, oh, I better buy these before so I can keep some other jerk from going. Anyway, now I've talked far too much about the semantics of how to present a live show ticket offer. So just, if you would like to go, it would be nice to have you there. If not, totally cool. But we'll see you there if you do come, and they will be very, very fun. I'm very excited about these shows in this Comic-Con. So I'd like to thank Stamps.com for sponsoring this episode of the Nerdist Podcast. Turn your computer into your own personal post office that does not shout at you or that you don't have to wait in line for. If you want to create the post office experience, just get a line of your friends to stand in front of your computer and then just wait there for a while, and then just have your computer just on a loop, just shout expletives at you. But if you don't want to do all that, then just sit down and print out the exact postage you need for whatever letter or package or whatever you need, and then just hand it to your mail carrier, and then you'll be done. We, of course, have this continuing offer with Stamps.com. The promo code Nerdist will give you a $110 bonus offer, including a digital scale, which, by the way, calculates the exact postage for letters and packages, and up to $55 of free postage. So don't wait. Go to Stamps.com before you do anything else. Click the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in Nerdist. That's Stamps.com, and enter the promo code Nerdist. This podcast is Alexis Ohanian, who is a co-founder of Reddit. And I spent a lot of time on Reddit, and I was very excited to meet Alexis, and it turned out to be such a great guy that we actually became pals, and actually I believe may have developed an idea that might be fun for you to jump on. But yeah, he was in town a few weeks back, and he came out to the At Midnight Studios, and we got to hang out a bit, and we exchanged numbers. Oh, bro time. And so, he does have a book, by the way, called Without Their Permission, which came out late last year. It's available anywhere books are sold, digitally or in real life. So check it out. He's an incredibly smart guy. He's way smarter than I am, which is totally fine. And it was an honor to talk to him and try to feel like I was smarter. So here we go, the Nerdist Podcast number 546 with Alexis Ohanian. Our Begin Podcast.
Now entering Nerdist.com.
Should I make my cat look really fat, or like sometimes it's all about how she spreads out. Like sometimes she will just be like, here's a reasonable photo. She loves sticking out her tongue like that, and I melt. Well, okay then.
Are you guys using Cat, the app where you make people look like cats?
No, okay, that's the full Monty. She's sea otters. This is what I call this, and it's the most amazing thing ever.
Did you think about putting a stick on and just like sweeping?
Sweeping the floor.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like a Swiffer, like a cat Swiffer.
Our cat should hang out. I miss her.
Where is she now?
Well, she's back in Brooklyn, but I've only been gone a few days. I'm just pathetic.
No, that's
pathetic.
That's sweet.
I did a 5-month bus tour for my book, and when I came back, I really worried. I thought it was going to be like, those amazing viral videos where the vet comes home and the dog flips out.
Yeah.
And it's like and you're all like weepy and stuff. They don't have a lot of those with cats, And so I'm like, Karma, I'm home.
Cats are emotionally vacant.
But no, she came to the door and expressed about as much love as I can get out of a cat. I was happy with it, but it wasn't like I was really expecting like the dog jumping up on me, licking the face. But
it just the cat just goes meow, and then just one balloon just sadly drops.
Look, we threw a party for you,
and just bounces. All right, I'm gonna go shit in a box now.
See, and then make you clean it up.
They make you clean it up.
That's the gift. It's like my 16th birthday all over again.
I feel like I feel like having a cat is a very codependent relationship because you're constantly just like, Love me more. Cat, what if I do this? Will you love me more?
Never works. It doesn't. But see, I feel like, we were talking about this earlier, I feel like I'm more of a dog person. I just don't. I can't. With living in Brooklyn and traveling and stuff, like, I would just feel terrible having one. And the cat, I don't know if she's listening, but I still love her. I just,
she'll listen.
I kind of wish she were a dog.
She'll, a dog would be like, you sounded great on that podcast. A cat might listen, but never tell you. And you'd be like, did you listen to the podcast? I don't know. I listen to a lot of things.
Got a lot of stuff going on in my life.
I always feel like having a cat is like having a roommate that you slept with once but shouldn't have, and it's just always awkward. Where they just walk across the hall and you're like, am I supposed to go to you, or are we friends still, or do you come to me?
Wow, I have never had that roommate set up, and it makes a lot of sense.
I've never have either, but I'm assuming that's what would happen. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thanks. It started. This has started.
Yeah.
Oh,
it started.
How about that?
It started a little while ago.
Did you scalp Chewbacca?
I did.
Is that an iPad
This is our
case?
guest book.
Oh,
this is our guest book. So when we're done,
nice.
You will sign this book.
That just roared. Yeah, Wookiee roar.
And then we will, when the book is full, we auction it off for charity.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
We got a little ways to go, but I think we'll get there by the end of the year.
Nice.
But do you spend a lot of time on the West Coast, or is this just for the book tour?
So I'm very biased. I love the East Side, but I do, obviously a lot in technology, startups, and investing. So I spend a lot of time in San Francisco. No offense, Southern California. But my grandfather lives here, and a lot of things came into place. I was on the West Coast for Y Combinator and their latest batch, whole new round of startups, new Reddits, new Hitmonks, even better and bigger. And my grandpa's 92 years young. And I was like, Gramps, I got to come visit, and I got to get you to an AMA. And my grandpa, bless his heart, he actually uses the internet a good bit. Does not use Reddit. He is aware of Reddit. I mean, I've been working on it for the last 9 years, so I'd hope so. And he's very, very supportive of it, but has no idea what it is. But I explained the whole AMA procedure to him, and he was like, all right, let's do this. And I was his typist as he dictated to me. And we did an amazing AMA a couple days ago, which you should all check out. And it's really cool. And I got inspired because I've started to see more, I'm a 94-year-old World War II vet, ask me anything. These AMAs of people who have lived through so much, who may not necessarily be famous, but who are part of a limited group of people who have this kind of experience. It's really fascinating. I mean, Reddit's median age is 26.
But
good questions.
Someone who's lived to the age of 94, there's a very strong likelihood that they have a lot of great stories to tell, just because they've been on this earth a long time. Yeah. So they may not be pop culture famous, but they're sort of humanity famous in a way, because they have they have achieved. I mean, if you make it to that age,
you're doing something right.
You're doing there's something going on for the most part, and there are lessons to be learned, and there are parallels to be drawn. And so the great thing about Reddit or social media or having this connection to people is that a lot of these people in their 90s would have just otherwise just been dust in the wind at some point without having their story to tell. But having this, because it's not like most of these cases, people aren't being visited every day so they can spin yarns. Yeah. So to be able to reach out to, ostensibly millions of people and say, what do you want to know? I got stories.
And this was absolutely an unintended consequence. Steve and I started Reddit just to have one front page of interesting links that would one day hopefully grow into many, many communities. They're 500,000 subreddits now. And I also was watching you last night. Oh, that's creepy. It's LA, so I guess you hear that a lot.
On the show, right?
I've said too much. And to see it was a combined GIFs, the subreddit getting a shout out there. There are 500,000 communities now on Reddit. Right. We built that platform with just one and hoped that, okay, we could spin up some others and, anyone could create one. And one day, maybe there'd be 20. And what's so cool is, the AMA thing spun out because a Redditor or Redditors on r Ask Reddit were getting tired of seeing people come on to Ask Reddit, which is normally a place to ask questions, saying, hey, ask me anything. I'm a New York subway conductor. And they were like, you know what? This doesn't belong here. Create your own subreddit. And the AMA, all that nomenclature was created by users, like the hashtag. Steve and I didn't invent that.
Right.
It happened organically. And the best AMAs, I'll tell you, my grandpa does not have a lot of Twitter followers. Does not. He has actually 0. If you went on Twitter and said, I have some amazing stories to tell, odds are no one would ask him a question.
No, because of the nature of
on Facebook, no one would ask.
Yeah.
What's cool is the best AMAs, I say with all due respect to present company, the best AMAs come from people who are just like, I'm a New York subway conductor, or I am like a trauma nurse who's been doing this for 30 years. Like, they are just normal people who don't have any kind of celebrity, not even like internet celebrity. They're just people with great stories. And I like that because it's the nature of the internet. There are people all over who have had great stories, who would have been great interview subjects. Larry King obviously can't take the time to interview all of them.
Right.
But we have the technology now to allow people to just ask these questions of anyone who wants to get up and talk. And it's very cool.
I love the Reddit community. I've been a part of it for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
I've been
good at it.
I'm okay at it.
Yeah.
I still feel like I get sucked into things that I shouldn't get sucked into. I'm getting a lot better about that. Mm-hmm. But I've been aware of Reddit for more than 3 years. But it was my girlfriend Chloe had really, like, she was a big Redditor, and she was like, you know, she's on it constantly.
She has great taste.
I got sucked in, and so she had me do an AMA almost 3 years ago, and it was great.
That was because of her?
It was because of her.
Can I send her like a swag bag or some nice little thank you for that?
Sure, I'm sure
we're
we're
gonna
appreciate
that.
We'll sort that out.
All right, spoiler. Sorry, you're gonna get that. That's really awesome.
Yeah, and so, you know, and a bunch of my other friends of Redditors, Will Wheaton, and, you know, like people who really
modeled my beard after him.
Oh, no, that is a very...
It's a Wheaton-esque beard.
I would have said Wheatonian.
Touche.
But I do feel that, you know, at midnight, and this may, you know, I'm not trying to offend any Redditors by saying this, but I feel like spiritually it's it kind of like Reddit the show, in the sense that we're sort of finding things that are kind of popping up on the surface of a lot of different communities, and then we're commenting on it. And like, most people are very nice about it, but the kind of snipes that I get on Reddit sometime, like, what are you going to rip off Reddit now? And it's like, well, we're not ripping it off. That's like saying, you know, Jon Stewart's ripping off politics. It's like, this is just the source material, and then we're adding commentary the way you would as a commenter on a Reddit thread. We're not just showing stuff and going, look what we found. All right, here's another thing we found. Like, it's with any kind of, you know, satire show, it's like, this is the source material, and then we add our comments to it. Like, we add our commentary and see what builds from there. And that, to me, is sort of the soul of Reddit. It's like, what are people going to do with this, and how is it going to evolve, and where are they going to go, and how's this thread going to turn into a weird, slightly related meme, and then just go into something else completely because everyone's one-upping each other with jokes.
Yeah, and actually, similar to Reddit, you guys also have a point system that is utterly meaningless. I was thinking, I was like, you are very generous with your points.
I am, but you know,
very generous.
But what happens is that I do give it a lot of points on the show, but you know, we take basically what's a 35 to 38 minute show and edit it to 21 minutes, and so. More often than not, we're going to keep the best stuff.
Right.
So stuff that maybe doesn't get points, probably didn't get points for a reason, and so we don't keep it on the, you know, like we don't want to sacrifice good comedy to show like something that didn't fly. We do sometimes.
I see what you mean. Because there are probably instances where someone should not get points because it's bad, but somehow it becomes so funny that it's worth keeping.
There's kind of a weird. I don't really have a hard and fast rule about it. It's just that if in very few cases I will not award points even if the audience laughs, if it's something like someone took a shot at Harry Potter and I was like, fuck you, no points.
Wow.
Even though the audience laughed. But in general, if I laugh, it'll get points. If the audience laughs, it'll get points. If it's something that seems relevant in some way or just felt like, oh, they went a little extra with it, and even though it may not have been hilarious, I'm going to give them points for the effort. So, because I feel, and, you know, one thing that I liked about Reddit from early on is that in most cases it feels inclusive. Now there are, and that's how I like to conduct things. I like everyone to feel included, as opposed to like, no, fuck you, this is our thing. Fuck you, that's your thing. I do find sometimes, on Reddit that it can be a little exclusive in certain areas, but that's just the nature of nerds congregating.
I mean, it's crazy, right? There's about 110 million people every month visiting Reddit. which is mind-blowing to me, right? Like, I live in New York, and there's 8 million people there. That's a lot of New York cities. And so with 500,000 communities, it really runs the gamut. I mean, you know, I think once anything reaches a certain scale, whether it's YouTube comments, whether it's, Twitter comments, at a certain scale, you're going to get just, assholes.
Yeah.
I think what hopefully shines more often than not, and I know at least just based on, the sort of stuff that Reddit deals with today, the vast majority of content posted there ends up being pretty benign or pretty positive. But this is the nature of a new world where, like, for better or for worse, anyone with a smartphone or a computer can talk. And I think things like, whose show is it with celebrities reading mean tweets?
Kimmel.
Like brilliantly done. And I think a way to hopefully, to hopefully prepare people for the fact that, like, yeah, you have this power, but with it, like Uncle Ben said, comes great responsibility. And like, I totally agree. I think there's so many more opportunities now than ever for us to communicate and share an idea. I hope more often than not we choose to exercise that for good. At the end of the day, I wish I could control people, but I cannot.
I mean, obviously, I think dissenting opinions are good. I just find sometimes the people that can be most frustrating are just flat out rude, and then when you challenge them, they're like, "You can't handle the truth." I was like, "No, you're just a dick." if you said it positively and constructively, but that's the idea of, like, well, anyone can say whatever they want, and that's just the melting pot of, so that's how some people communicate. But I also find that it's like the smaller subreddits, there's a little more social policing with that stuff because people feel a little more accountable. With the large ones, like, our videos, our pics are funny, like it gets that's where you see more of the deluge of that, because it's just the numbers are greater.
It looks like YouTube comments. It looks like all those, and it sucks. I wonder. I think this is something I've thought about a lot, because it's clear. Even with, Facebook's obviously made a huge push for Real ID, for your photo, for your real name. It's the only way to use the site. But it's clear that even having your real name and your photo and, like, your mother reading your Facebook post, people will still be awful.
They will. But I do honestly believe that a percentage of people would be less awful if they felt that they were accountable for their... I mean, for me, look, it's fine, post anonymously, that's totally cool. But for me personally, I never do. I like being responsible for myself. I mean, I like being accountable for what I say, because I feel like it kind of keeps me in check. And I think that's good for our culture to be accountable for